The current edition of the FIH Pro League hockey tournament has seen India scale some unprecedented highs. There have been plenty of moments that have given Indian hockey fans a lot to rejoice. However, despite having so many highs, India's potential mission of finishing on top of the FIH Pro League, something that they have not done in 3 editions so far, might still be lagging behind, because if you look at it, some of the teams are yet to play their full quota of games. Great Britain, for example, they are only trailing India by 4 points, but they have 4 games to go. India are currently on top with 16 matches and 30 points. And along this way, they have had a lot of memorable moments. But they have also had some very anxious moments that expose some old weaknesses that has plagued Indian hockey for a couple of decades. So in this video, I will give you a total rewind of how India did well in the FIH Pro League and end it with some kind of future assertion as to how the Craig Fulton era will bring about for Indian hockey. So take a look at this points table, because this is something that Indian hockey fans have been wanting to see for decades on top of the FIH Pro League. More points than Great Britain over Australia and the likes of Spain, Netherlands, Argentina and Belgium. All great teams, but potentially India can be overhauled by 1 or 2 of the other teams as the FIH Pro League cycle draws to a close towards July first week. Remember, India are the only team to have finished all their games in the FIH Pro League. Now, how is the structure? A total of 9 teams, 8 home games, 8 away games. 8 at home can be against different nations, 8 away games can be against the different nations. This time, the 4 away teams for India were Belgium, Netherlands, Great Britain and Argentina. At home, it was Germany, Spain, New Zealand and Australia. Now, how did they fare in the home season? So, when you look at the home season in the very beginning, they finally got their revenge for the World Cup debacle that happened against the Black Sticks, which was New Zealand. They defeated New Zealand 4-3 and then 7-4 in the 2 games that happened. Remember, New Zealand had dumped India out 5-4 on penalties in the FIH World Cup in Bhubaneswar. So, it was a big consolation for the India men's hockey team. Remember, Graham Reid had quit at that point in time and they were still without a head coach. Fulton was going to take charge from June itself. So, India in the FIH Pro League made a magnificent start. Then, if you have to look at it, their campaign suffered a midway jolt because they lost 2-3 to Spain, but bounced back in great style with a 3-1 penalty shootout win against the Spanish. Remember, even Spain were a dar team and their defense was especially strong, but they managed to break through the Spanish defense and win 3-1 on penalties. This particular aspect of penalty shootouts was the most heartening thing that came for India in the FIH Pro League. Remember, in the penalty shootouts, they were struggling in the past, but now they were starting to turn a corner. But it was the next 4 games that underlined that India had truly gotten over the hurt of the FIH World Cup exit. Because in 2 games that they played against World Cup winners Germany, they defeated them 3-2 and 6-3. Remember, India have had a great record against the German side for the past couple of years. It was India that defeated Germany in the 2021 Tokyo Olympics and finally ended 41 years of pain. Here in the FIH Pro League, they defeated them 3-2 and 6-3, which showed that India could still match with the technical superiority that the Europeans had when it came to attacking football. Hockey rather. But it is these 2 wins that really make this edition of the FIH Pro League hockey very memorable, because India beat Australia, the Kookaburras, who have always been India's ultimate rival, 5-4 and then 4-3 on penalty shootouts, defeating Australia back to back. When did that last happen? 48 years ago. In 1975, India had beaten Australia back to back in hockey, and ever since then, they have had one major win, but then they have lost on a lot of occasions. And remember, Australia have always been India's bogey team ever since the 70s. Be it in the Olympics, be it in the World Cup, be it in the Aslan Shah Champions Trophy, Australia were always India's bogey team in hockey, but not anymore. In this edition of the FIH Pro League, the Kookaburras were humbled 5-4 and 4-3, and the next match 4-3, penalty shootouts. What is Australia's strongest suit in hockey? That got them, that India defeated them on their own strong suit, meant that Indian hockey was on the way up. After the Australia success, they then moved to Europe, where they were going to play games in London and Eindhoven. But it was here where India stumbled and their chances of finishing on top took a big hit, because what happened in the first game against Belgium? They were 1-1 with just 30 seconds to go. Onana scored for Belgium, and that is why they lost 2-1. Had they held on for 30 seconds more, they would have also secured a draw and taken into penalty shootouts where India would have won. But look at the next game that they played against Belgium. It was total hockey where India created chances, converted their penalty corners, and they were supreme in defense. The 5-1 win that they had against Belgium was their best result against the reigning Olympic champions ever since 2020 in the FIH Pro League. So this was a fantastic result for India. But things would definitely go downhill from this point in time, because their defense crumbled in the remaining games. They lost 2-4 to Great Britain, but they bounced back by winning the next game 4-2 on penalties. Now, it was evident India's defense, if they held firm, they could drag it deep and then win on penalty shootouts. But when they couldn't drag the game deep, the defense crumbled, India were made to pay in a big, big way, which is what happened against the Dutch. You have to understand that the likes of Australia and Netherlands, why do they hurt India most often? Because they are forever on the attack. And if they are on the attack right from the very first minute, the defense crumbles, they don't even get time to settle. That is why Australia have got such a good record against India, but so do the Dutch. The Dutch have always hurt India in major events, and in the FIH Pro League, these two losses that India had against the Dutch really hurt them. 1-4, but yet again, they were 2-2, but towards the last 2 minutes, Tengelkamp ensured that he got a goal. Duco Tengelkamp ensured. He also did well against Australia in the FIH Pro League. Tengelkamp's goal with just 2 minutes to go ensured India could not drag it to the penalty shootouts, and that's why they lost 2-3. Those two losses against the Netherlands meant that India's chances of finishing in the Pro League high on top, they were on a prayer. Then when they bounced back to win against Argentina, the Pumas 3-0 and 2-1, it was a good end to their FIH Pro League. I mean, who would have thought that beating the World Cup winners, Australia, even Great Britain in one game, and also Argentina, themselves Olympic gold medalists, by the way, who would have thought that this could have happened? But despite all that, there is still a sense of, oh, what if? Because if you look at this campaign in particular, the ultimate high was Harmanpreet Singh, the captain leading from the front yet again with 18 goals. And the best part that he's moved on and reworked this technique ever since the World Cup, 16 of those 18 goals came from penalty corners. In the World Cup, he had 15, converted nil. This is the redemption of Harmanpreet Singh. Vivek Prasad, he was a fantastic attacker, and his field goals that came really boosted India's forward line attack. And the defense complemented them with that. But it was the defense that yet again let India down, because they conceded 19 goals in 8 away games. This was the Craig Fulton era. Fulton had one mantra: strong defense for better attack. Here, 19 goals in 8 away games. That did not help. And consider the previous era, the Graham Reed era, 20 goals in 8 games in that FIH Pro League cycle. Kind of sobering, which means that India's defense has to really come up now as they await future tournaments. So, the FIH Pro League might probably see India finish second or third, maybe the likes of Great Britain, Netherlands, they might contest for the top 2. It has been a great campaign for India. Now they will play a tri-series against Spain and Netherlands. Then you have the Asian Champions Trophy, and after that you have the Asiad. Remember, if India makes it to the final of the Asian Games, then and only then they will secure automatic qualification for Paris Olympics 2024. If they do not make it to the final of the Asian Games, then they have a serious problem heading into Paris 2024. One hopes the defense steps up, because the attack and the skipper have been supreme in this FIH Pro League. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this video. We'll be back with more updates on Sports Today. Tap that bell icon so you know when we go live, and don't forget we are on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram as well. Thank you.